A radical shake-up of university fees has passed the Senate. It will see the price of some degrees double to subsidise the cost of others.
It passed with the support of One Nation and Crossbench Senator Sterling Griff, but not before an impassioned speech against the changes by Tasmanian Senator Jacqui Lambie.
They're never going to thank you for taking away their dreams, their futures and making their lives even more miserable. They'll treat the world we're creating for them today as a world as it is. One where rich kids get the course of their dreams and the poor kids get the scraps. Nothing changes. One where rich kids get discounts and poor kids get debts. Where if you can't afford to study full-time, you fail, you lose, you're out, you're finished, you're gone. Get on the damn dole queue.
Jacqui Lambie joins us now from Parliament House. Jacqui, good morning.
Good morning.
After investing so much political and, I guess, emotional energy in fighting these changes, what were your thoughts as the bill finally went through the Senate?
Yeah, I've still got a really big lump in my throat, to be honest with you. I've heard from those students over the past few months and they're doing it really, really tough. They're really struggling, especially with their mental health. You know, a lot of them are not in those classrooms. They are trying to study and get through this by themselves at home. And I just think to throw this, all those billions of dollars that we have put out there, and to say we want to save a couple of $1 billion at the expense of our next future, of our children, I just find it so heartbreaking and so... it's so destroying for these kids. You know, if anything, we've got no idea what's going to happen over the next few years. We should have been encouraging, especially those who aren't quite sure, those who are from those disadvantaged backgrounds, to have a shot at going to university. This would have been a great time to actually drop some fees down, especially those associate degrees, and, you know, halve them, go in the opposite direction. So it's been pretty heart-wrenching this week, and I really, really feel for them.
So what does it mean? I guess the longer-term implications for a kid from a poorer family who wanted to go and study arts or law or economics and now is facing fees 113% higher.
For me, I hope it doesn't discourage these kids from doing those degrees, but they are going to pay more than double the price. What I understand is I did not go to university, so I've been trying to understand it in the last 8 years. But what I understand about those arts degrees, it's a foot in the door. And from there, I mean, who knows what they want to do at 17, let's be realistic. But to have a taste of a bit of a mixture and then say, you know what, I actually believe that I want to do this. And I just think it's going to discourage those kids from picking up those arts degrees. And for me, that's really, really worrying because of the way where we are with COVID-19, and that if we don't have a vaccine, those jobs will not be available. So the best thing that we can do to make sure to keep these kids with some momentum is make sure they stay in school and they're studying.
The government comes back with the argument that those kids will be much better served by the now cheaper, say, science and engineering degrees looking ahead.
Oh, yeah, we should be dictating to our children that probably do not have the ability to do those degrees, where the arts degrees, you know, you have a lot more things that you can choose from. And like I said, you can go in there and have a pick and choose, but to tell those kids what they should be doing when they're probably not suited to doing that, when they could be much better doing things that are within those arts degrees and being the best that they possibly can and taking those dreams off them, is probably one of the lowest acts I'm yet to see out of the coalition when it comes to our kids. Leave our kids alone. They're already doing it tough enough. Get out there encouraging them. But you should have been dropping those fees down, not hiking them up and trying to dictate to them what they're going to do in life. That's never going to work, because if you don't have the aptitude and you don't have what it takes to go down there, take their course of action, then you're never going to succeed. And it's as simple as that. Nor are you going to be happy.
As you said, it is the absolute year from hell for Year 12 students right around Australia, including Tasmania. You would have heard from a lot of families, a lot of kids, I guess, about what they're doing and what their hopes are and what their fears are as they leave school after this horrible year.
Yeah, I've had, I think, at last count, about half a dozen of them crying in front of me. They were doing it really, really tough. So to smack them down like this is, you know, when we didn't need to. Like I said, there's billions of dollars that they've been throwing out there in that budget, and to go after our kids, and when multinationals are not paying their tax, like I said, I think it's a whole new low ebb for the coalition of this country.
Hey, it's been a big week. Just before you go, a couple of other questions. The budget, what did you broadly think of that, Jacqui?
I'm just really concerned that, you know, they are planning that there'll be a vaccine by the end of the year, and I think they're absolutely delusional. I don't believe that. I think it's really short-term thinking instead of long-term planning, and that's very, very worrying. So I guess we'll see what happens. I think we're going to see the results of the cutbacks in JobSeeker and JobKeeper, and I think after that Christmas period, around the end of March, it's going to be an absolute bloody disaster. So I think that this budget will look very, very different to May's.
OK, and announced this week that somebody you have had close contact with for many years, Mathias Cormann, the government Senate leader, is leaving politics at the end of November. Lots of plaudits around for him this week about his role as a Senate negotiator, as the government leader. Will he be missed?
Look, I just get up here and I do do the job that I have to do. I deal with any minister that I've got to do with that has a bill up there. It doesn't really matter who it is, but I think what's killed it off in the end for Mathias is that he's got a job for mates, and you know what? That's really disappointing. How unusual that you can't walk out, stand on your own 2 feet, and you've been given a high-profile job. So I think that always puts a dampener on things when you've given something else that's been passed to you on a silver platter. But you know what? That's the Liberal government for you. And that's why our kids in university are now paying the price, especially those ones coming from poor backgrounds.
Jacqui Lambie, Parliament House, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on.